Jim Cramer's here to answer your questions from social media. Jim, we're going to start with another stock in the news again, Chipotle. At this point, given the current issues, when would you get back in? Do we know where the bottom is?
Yeah, that's become an emotional stock in an emotional market where everything opened down and then things come back. Yeah, look, we don't want to draw a conclusion that E. coli is in Boston College is happening. We don't know. But I would tell you this. There's a really interesting Carl Quintanilla tweet which talks about the disclosure that because they are so natural and organic, they may have issues. Read that, but understand that I think Chipotle 6 months from now could be higher than it is.
All right, what about, these are some interesting ones, an oil and gas ETF, a gold ETF, and Freeport-McMoRan?
Well, Freeport-McMoRan, Carlton English is doing great stuff on that, and I don't think that company can stay in its current structure. The oils are so oversold that I think that if you wanted to get in them, that's wrong, but if you want to wait for a bounce, that's right. And gold, I think, is having a very odd move here. I don't want to own gold other than as a, let me make this clear, insurance policy. That's why I've always said 10% of your money can be gold. The master limited partnerships, I want to be clear, are due for a bounce, okay? So if you're still selling them, hold off.
Hey Jim, today you have a video question.
Good morning, Jim. This is Corey Parker with the Lost Curriculum coming at you from Baltimore, home of the Ravens. Question for you. What's your thoughts on stock symbol CHK, Chesapeake Oil? It's trading at all-time lows. Do you think it's going to rebound when oil rebounds? Let us know. Thanks, Jim.
Carlton English and I have been working on that. It's part of my SWAT team for the paid products of real money. And again, I don't think that structure can stand in this environment.
With the pipelines now, you've been scale buying ETP for Action Alert Plus, which you told us yesterday. Is it reasonable to do the same with Kinder Morgan as that shareholder base turns over? I know people really want you to talk about this one.
Kinder Morgan, we've written extensively about that. I think that at Energy Transfer, we sold a lot, a big slug at 43, and we're very slowly buying it back. They have much more coverage of their distribution than KMI does. KMI is very oversold, so I mean, I would not sell it at this point, because if you go look at Boardwalk Pipeline, which is a company that cut its distribution badly, this one's already acted as if it's going to cut the distribution. Might be a little more downside if they do, but that's why the bonds are trading higher. People just presume they're going to cut it, and then it can bounce. It doesn't bounce that day.
How about Tortoise Pipeline with a 13% yield?
You know, all these are the same stock. It just doesn't matter. I mean, where I made my mistake with master limited partnerships, and I did, was that I looked at the balance sheets and decided some were better than others, but they all trade together.
Let's go with tech now. Qualcomm, antitrust violations in Europe, your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't want to see that. I think Qualcomm's too low, and I think that Qualcomm is making deals with the Chinese that will make it so they get paid. But the semiconductors having a little bit of downturn, but I think Qualcomm at 50 still represents value.
How about RRDonnelley?
Now, there's the one that has a good yield. It's splitting into 3 companies that I think is, and the dividend is covered, where I think it's just a great investment to hold over the next 18 months.
How about Hospitality Property Trust? One person says it's Amazon proof. It's got a 5% yield.
Yeah, just Ventas is the one that I vented the most, and that's the one to own.
Finally, Texas Roadhouse. Is that a good bet?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting, and I think Sonic's interesting too. These are Panera's interesting, which we own for Action Alerts, and I think that made a little sale, was up 5 yesterday, and I think Qdoba, which is owned by Jack in the Box, is perhaps the best one of all of these. Again, I want to emphasize, because you have a lot of questions about natural gas and master limited partnerships. These can bounce, and if you want to sell them, please wait for the bounce. They're down so much that they reflect massive dividend cuts.
All right, it's been an interesting week so far. Yes. Jim Cramer, thanks as always to Jim, and you can send your questions to Facebook. You'll find him there. On Twitter, he's at Jim Cramer. Use hashtag CramerQ. I'm Rhonda Schaffler for The Street.
To get more of Jim Cramer's investing ideas, as well as a peek at other stocks he owns in his multi-million-dollar charitable trust portfolio, subscribe to Action Alerts Plus. Sign up for Action Alerts Plus at getcrameredge.com. That's getcrameredge.com.